Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah, and we're excited to be here with you today. We will be talking about integrating digital literacy into low-level English learning classes, as Rob mentioned. Um, and I'll introduce myself. I am the Northstar Curriculum Manager with Literacy Minnesota. So work to help to develop all of our Northstar learning resources that you see. And I've been with the organization and in ABE for about 15 years. And I'll let my colleague Janet introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janet Stewart, and I work with Leah and all the wonderful people at Literacy Minnesota. I'm the Northstar curriculum writer. I've been in this position for a little over a year, um, and happy to be here with you all today. All right, so in today's session, we hope to accomplish a few things. We hope to have some opportunity to discuss your classroom's digital literacy needs. We'll identify resources for integrating digital literacy into your beginning level EL classes. We'll list reasons for incorporating digital literacy skill routines in your classrooms. And we'll have some time at the end to plan to explore and integrate at least one of the digital literacy resources we look at into your instruction.
And here is our agenda for today. Here's how we plan to meet those objectives. We'll start with a warm-up all together, and then we'll talk about how digital literacy routines that are built from the resources that we'll share today can help to support beginning English language learners who are also digital literacy beginners. Um, and we'll share two resources today. We're going to talk about some digital skill routines that we've created and also video tutorials. Really important to also let you know that all of these resources are free and available online. So you'll be able to access these right after our session today and implement them as soon as you would like. We will have an opportunity for you to look at them and explore them and discuss in breakout rooms. And then we will do a wrap up. So I will hand it over to Janet, who's going to lead us in a warm up.
Great, thanks, Leah. In today's warm-up, we're going to use the chat and get to know a little bit about you and your needs. So in the chat, please let us know, if you're willing, where you teach and what level, where you teach, what program you work with, and generally what learner level you work with. We know there's a variety and you may work with a variety of learners. What are you hoping to learn in this session? What do you hope to get out of this? And what are your current practices of integrating digital literacy in your English learner classrooms, if any? And then a bonus, if you're willing to share any successes or challenges you may have had with this. We'll give you a moment to type that out. All right, we have a Northstar Digital Literacy user. It's excellent. Online in person.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Someone who shared from the International Institute, teaching online with all levels, but currently do not have a lot of digital literacy in the curriculum. That is something that we hear a lot. So we're excited to give you some resources that you can hopefully plug in to any curriculum today.
Great variety of experiences here. Not a lot of digital literacy in the curriculum, teaching ESL.
All levels. Again, this session is targeted for beginning because that's a level that many sites are saying they want to see resources at that level, at that beginning level. However, these resources can really work for any level of beginning digital literacy user. So we're very happy to have all teachers at all levels here.
Yeah. Hoping to learn how to more routinely integrate digital literacy in the classroom. You're in the exact right spot for that. Little integration currently, digital skills. That's okay, that's very normal. Right. Burlington user. Okay.
And all of these resources should fit well with other digital literacy resources like Burlington and typing.com and any curriculum.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. I think we've learned a lot about who we have in the room and kind of what the needs are. Move forward into a little bit of background here with Leah.
Yes. So we know that to best serve our learners, we want to balance and blend those standards that you see on our screen, our Minnesota ABE Adult Learning Standards. We want to support students in to develop their academic skills through the college and career readiness standards, English language arts and math. We also want to support that soft skills or academic career and employability skills um, for learners so that they can meet their goals, whether that's to transition into post-secondary ed, career training, or the workplace, or to enrich community involvement. And we also want to make sure that we're supporting the third leg of that stool, which is the digital literacy skills that are defined by the Northstar Digital Literacy standards. And as we mentioned earlier, many of our curricular resources often integrate well those academic and transition skills through problem solving and critical thinking and content. However, as we heard in the chat, many teachers are wondering how they can also balance in the digital literacy skills, especially in those lower level classes. And it can be really tough to know where to begin. So we are going to give you some ideas today. And why do we need to build in those digital literacy skills besides the fact that it's just one component of our standards? We know that so many things that we do every day require those digital skills. So in order for our learners to be able to meet their goals, we also want to incorporate opportunities for them to build their digital resilience, so their ability to use their digital skills across platforms in many different areas, and also their digital literacy. And here are just some examples. I'm sure you can think of many, many more um, of why digital skills are so important, and we use them almost every day. So why routines? Why do we look at it from that angle? Routines are just a great place to start. There's smaller bite-sized chunks of instruction, so it makes planning easier. You can fit them into the current instruction that you're doing. So maybe choosing 10 to 20 minutes a day within your current instruction, you can build in some digital skills. The repetition of routines, we know that that helps learners to know what to expect, and it helps you to know what to expect. And so it makes planning and practicing easier, and it allows learners to build those skills through that repetition of practicing it again and again, and to build that confidence. That's super important when we talk about digital resilience or the ability of learners to transfer their digital skills into multiple areas or on multiple devices. So we know that they need multiple opportunities to build that. And of course, repetition is really important for students who are at the beginning level of English language. And the resource is already created for you, so why not try them? So I will talk about our first resource that we're going to share today, the digital skill routines to build essential digital literacy skills in ESL classrooms. I'm just peeking over at the chat here to see if there's any question. Yes, I hear someone say Northstar is way too hard. So this resource that I'm going to talk about right now, digital routines, is actually a precursor or a scaffold to Northstar. So if you're familiar with the Northstar curriculum and you're finding that it's a little bit too high level for learners, the digital routines would be a place to start. Our aim was to create easy to use digital skill lessons that could be implemented as routines, as I said, to be used over and over again. And knowing that repetition helps learners build those essential skills in the classroom. We wanted to create a simple way for teachers to do that and really think about bringing the language level down to that beginning level, but also making sure that the skill level is beginning for digital. And so we created them in Google Slides. Feedback in the classrooms from teachers was that Google Slides are easier to implement. And so the Google Slides, when you download them, you actually download a copy. You're able to edit them and make them your own or put them into your own slide decks that you might already be using for your classroom. And we will share links to these. You're going to get all this. Uh, there's also rubrics included. So these are self-assessment rubrics to use before and after instruction. Then you can identify the skills that learners need to build and then have learners self-assess to see skills that they've mastered after instruction. And finally, the digital routines or lessons, they extend to other activities, so they're connected to the Northstar curriculum. So once learners master the beginning level skills of a topic, you could go on to those Northstar lessons for additional application and practice. They also connect to the English Unlocked curriculum. So if you're using that, that's our English language learning curriculum developed by Literacy Minnesota. If you're using that, these will also integrate and build up into those content lessons. Talk a little bit about how the routines are structured. The digital skill routines, and again, they're in Google Slides, and they follow best practices in instruction. They include simple explanations and descriptions of skills and digital literacy vocabulary, which is really important, including lots of visuals. So one of the tricky parts of integrating basic digital literacy skills, like if we think about keyboarding or using a mouse, is having the visuals that you need to support learners. And so we've already done that for you. The routines start with direct instruction, so explanation and modeling by the teacher, and then guided practice where you do it together, and finally an application where learners try the skill by themselves, giving the teacher an opportunity to check for comprehension. So I'm going to show you what they look like, and I see in the chat that some people are like, "Where can we find this?" I'm going to tell you, and we're going to give all of this to you, so you will not leave here without it. Don't worry. So I'm just going to show you a little piece of this. Remember that these are in Google Slides. So the little chunk that I'm going to show you focuses on Northstar Basic Computer Skills Standard 4, demonstrate knowledge of keys on a keyboard, including all of those keys that are listed there. But this little mini lesson just focuses on shift and caps lock. Yes, taking it slow is so important. So here's a sample in the sample routine or lesson, and I've copied the slide and the notes section on the screen here. So I know it's a little bit small, but you can see that when you have these Google Slide lessons, the teacher instructions are included in the notes section. So you'll have scripts, you'll have examples, you'll have all the language that you need that goes along with the slide. So in this sample, the teacher starts by modeling and explaining the shift key. And the instructions include the script, like I said. And here a teacher can also open a Word or a Google Doc and then demonstrate how they would use the shift plus a key to make a capital letter or type a symbol. So first that modeling and explaining. And next, the teacher continues to model and explain the caps lock key, which is a little bit different, but has some similar functions. After modeling and explaining, there is a guided practice or an opportunity to practice the skill together. So here the teacher asks learners what key or what key combination would be needed to type the sentences that you see on the screen. And this slide is animated, so the keys will not show up until you click the answers. And I can show you that on the next slide. Janet, if we go to the next slide, and then you'll see, so you could ask students in the sentence above, what key, or in the first sentence, what key would I use to help me type that first sentence? Is this something we could go through on a smartboard as a large group? Yes, definitely. Yes. And for remote instruction, you could use it too. Of course, it's easier maybe in person, but yes, you could definitely use it on a smartboard. And what key would you use to type the second sentence? And it would be caps lock. Finally, after that guided practice, um, there's an opportunity for students to practice on their own. So here, students use the keys that they have learned to type the sentences. And as a reminder, these slides can be edited. They are yours. So you can change the sentences students need to type and add new practice. So once you've practiced these sentences for a while, you can throw some other sentences in there. You can take some sentences that you've been practicing in your curriculum. You can make it your own. And that's also a time when you can check for understanding. So again, this is something you would want to do over and over again until you see that learners have mastered this skill and they feel confident in it. And again, this is just one example of many, many things that are in these routines. So it is an alternative to the North Star curriculum, or more a scaffold to the North Star curriculum. They're independent. They can be used with any curriculum, but they also scaffold up to North Star, as I mentioned. They're foundational digital skills, so very beginning skills that we've pulled out of those North Star standards and even brought it down. And it includes that introductory vocabulary, which is really, really important at this level. So for the last little lesson I showed, maybe if you have any unit where you're asking students to type or write, that would be a great introductory routine to build in to help learners build confidence in computer use and typing. The teacher guide that accompanies this resource is the place to start. It's a very, very short guide. It's where you can find everything, including the rubrics that I talked about, those lessons, the Google Slides, everything is linked through there, and all of those application and extension activities. In the teacher guide, you'll see topic tables that look like this. This is where everything is linked. So you can find, as I said, that rubric for pre and post assessment. There's also a guide that describes how you could implement these, just more information. It talks about the skills that are supported, the CCRS, the TIF, and then the North Star standards. The digital routines you can see in the blue column. And finally, the last two columns are ideas for application within those other curricular resources. I see a question in the chat. Would you have students practice typing skills before this lesson? And yeah, I think that you could do some typing practice generally before this lesson, and then maybe focus on specific keys. But typing.com would be a great additional resource to that lesson, to this lesson. Question about integrating thematic material into these slides. I think that you could, if you, for example, you could choose specific sentences. Maybe if you're working on a text, um, you could implement specific sentences from that text. Students do not need an account. These are just Google Slides. So they don't need to have an account to access this. So what do we already have created for you? So here are the currently created routines that you can work with students on. There are 3 under basic computer skills and 3 under internet basics. In basic computer skills, the getting to know your device covers becoming confident with turning the device on and off, restarting a device, finding important parts of a device like a USB port, the camera, etc. Mouse practice, that's hovering, clicking, double clicking, right clicking, scrolling, all of those things. Keyboard keys and typing practice. You saw some of that already, but that also supports opportunities to practice incorporating typing skills and control commands like Control C and Control V, cut and paste. Internet basics, connecting to the internet, identifying if your device is connected to the internet, going to a website. Finding info online is opening up a general search in Google, typing search terms, finding answers to questions. And on websites, navigating websites by scrolling up and down, using buttons to go between different pages, refresh, those kinds of things. And finally, where are they? these lessons are in our Literacy Minnesota Educator Resources page, and they are also in Northstar. So if you have a Northstar account, you can access them in our curriculum area, and they are there. Otherwise, you can get them from the Educator Resources page. And I will pause for just a minute to address just a few questions. Yes, if many students are cell phone proficient, that's true. But keyboarding sometimes is sometimes students still need additional practice with a desktop keyboard, which is a little bit different, of course. And the link in the chat. Yes, we will share a handout or a resource when we get to the discussion point of this session, and that will have all of those. So we have enough time. I'm going to hand it over to Janet to talk about the digital skill video tutorials, and we will be sure to address questions at the end. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Leah. Excellent discussion so far. So this is the second resource that we wanted to share with you today. This is our digital skill video tutorials. And these video tutorials are resources that we developed as part of the CILIA-T project. And the CILIA-T project stands for Content Integrated Language Instruction for Adults with Technology Support. This is a 16-module curriculum that integrates civics, U.S. history, English instruction, and digital skills. So we collaborated on the digital skills component of this, and these video tutorials are one resource that we developed for that. That curriculum is currently being piloted and should be available for free later within the year. But these video tutorials and worksheets that we'll show you today are available now and free. So what's included? We have created 6 different videos on 6 topics that focus on digital skills and tools that learners may use inside or outside of their EL classrooms. So the topics that we have are finding information online, Zoom, smartphone apps, WhatsApp, Quizlet, which is an online flashcard app, and Gmail. So with each of these topics, we have created a separate video tutorial, a student worksheet for practice, along with a teacher answer key. And all of these materials will be shared again at the end of this session, but we have the link here for download. So all of these materials are linked on one document, which makes it very easy and convenient to access. Right. So these digital skill video tutorials can be used not just to support learners who may need support building skills in these topic areas, or learners who may have missed initial instruction on topic. These are great to kind of get them up to speed, or who just need additional or specific instruction on one of these topics. For example, say that I know a lot of learners are very proficient in their cell phones, but maybe they want some help with WhatsApp to connect with their family or friends. This video tutorial on WhatsApp would be really helpful for that. But these tutorials can also be really useful for onboarding teachers who may need to understand the topics more thoroughly before helping their learners, and to support volunteer tutors who may or may not be familiar with these topics. All right, so why talk about it when we could show you just a little bit of a sample? So this is our smartphone apps video tutorial sample, and each of our videos is broken into different parts. So most of the videos are about 10 minutes long, ranging from 7 to 14 minutes, but they are broken into smaller sections. So you can play a 4-minute section and work on that part for one day. You don't have to use the entire video and plan an entire day around it. You could break it into smaller sections. And these videos, the content of these videos all align with the digital literacy standards in the CILIA-T project, as well as borrowing a lot from the Northstar existing standards. So let's play it.
Smartphone apps. This video will introduce you to using apps on a smartphone. In this video, you will learn how to install and open apps on your smartphone, create an account, log into your apps, and manage your app's notification settings. Part 1. Installing apps. Applications, or apps, are tools on your smartphone that help you complete tasks. On smartphones and mobile devices, you can get many different kinds of apps, including apps for shopping online, playing games, getting map directions, taking pictures, and using social media. Your smartphone comes with many apps on it, but you might want to add more. Mobile devices have an app store where you can download and install new apps. Download means to move information from the internet to your device. Install means to add a new tool or app to your device. Apple iPhones have the App Store. Android phones have the Google Play Store. In the App Store, find the app that you want. You can use the search tool to find an app by name, or look at the list of popular apps by category. Tap the name of the app to see more information about it. Read the description to make sure it is the right app. Some apps are free, and some apps cost money. If the app is free, the download button says Get or Install. If the app is not free, the download button shows a price. Some apps are free to download, but there are things you can buy inside the app. Those apps will say in-app purchases. For example, Microsoft Word is free to download, but if you want to use it, you have to buy a subscription. When you find an app that you want, click the button to download the app. You might need to enter your password or verify your identity. After the app is installed, you can find it on your phone's home screen. To open an app, click on its icon. Part 2. Log.
All right. So as you can see, that was part 1 of our smartphone apps tutorial. And it goes on to have 2 additional parts. So we also go into logging into apps and managing notification settings. So then the next, next. So along with every video tutorial, we've also created a student worksheet. And the goal of this is to be able to practice each part step by step, as well as do a learning check or a more formative check for understanding of your learners. These practice activities and learning checks directly align with the content that you see in the videos. So in the video that we just watched, the smartphone apps, we saw how to download or install an app from the App Store. So the practice activity is guiding students through this process of opening the App Store, searching for an app, seeing if it's free, seeing if it has in-app purchases. Once you've completed that with your learners, you can check the answers, review the answers, and then move into the learning check. And this one is very formative of looking at the learners, having the learners assess whether or not they feel confident doing that. If overall they do feel confident, you can move to the next part. Or if there's mostly these, I can't do this, I don't understand, then you might want to review and watch again. And these all come with a accompanying teacher answer guide. So you don't have to do too much work far ahead. The answers are already written out for you as well as explanations. And if anything needs kind of some front end setup, we have instructions for that as well. All right, so now that we have covered 2 digital literacy skill building resources for your EL classes, we have the skill routines that Leah showed us and these video tutorials and worksheets. We are going to put you in breakout rooms. And our goal of these breakout rooms is to give you an opportunity to chat with folks about how and which resources you might want to use. So in your breakout rooms, work on identifying which resource you are most likely to explore. Maybe you want to explore both, but maybe there's one that you're a little bit more interested in looking at first. And share how you would plan to use this resource in your classroom. How would this fit into what you're already doing? And don't forget to introduce yourselves in your rooms as well. Can we share that worksheet? So everyone can, yep. So if you grab the link in the chat, have that open while you get situated in your breakout rooms. And then when we come back, we'll have a wrap up and discuss kind of key takeaways. Yeah, definitely get students once in a while. They're not ESL that are working on digital literacy that these would be helpful for. Absolutely.
And I think we'll have 5 minutes for breakout rooms. All right, welcome back, everyone. Just going to open up the chat here. I hope that you had a rich discussion. I know there's still lots of questions, and the session is not long enough to solve all of our challenges. But let's share a little bit in the chat. In your breakout rooms, you identified or talked about the resources that we shared, and maybe started to think about how you might use them in your classroom. So in the chat, share any ideas or insights or any additional questions that you have at this time. And Janet and I will address those. And as a reminder, Rob shared that link to the Google Doc in the chat. That has links to the resources that we were talking about today. And of course, you can access this slide deck after the session as well. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy says routine, start smart and simple. Yes. That's what we talked a little bit about in my breakout room, was how important it is to just choose one thing, just like we do when we're teaching grammar or a skill, like using a specific graphic organizer. We start with one thing. Digital literacy can seem so overwhelming because there's so many parts, but just focusing on one thing at a time. It would be great to have the videos available in multiple languages. You're right. They're in English only right now, but something to think about for the future. Using typing.com 10 minutes a day, yes. And students love that resource too. Oh, someone used the slides. Great. And yes, the ELDES curriculum that's going to be available. I have heard of that. There's in the chat, you'll see from Sarah, another curriculum that's going to be available as another precursor or scaffold to Northstar curriculum. I'd encourage you to check that out. There was a session about it yesterday. Yes. The more often you use the computer, as Jody brings up, the more confident students build in digital literacy. That's great too. Two shared a routine that he has used in his classroom. Logging in and typing. Yep. Starts to build confidence. Thank you everyone for sharing. Those are great ideas. All right. We will share our contact information so you can follow up with us. We love to talk about digital literacy and Northstar, all things Northstar. So please reach out if you have questions about these resources. We're happy to talk with you. And a question about English Unlocked, how easy is it to use English Unlocked for students? It's available at multiple levels. And so we get a lot of feedback that people really like English Unlocked. Gloria, if you have more questions about English Unlocked, you can reach out to me. Yes, good idea about breaking down the video. Certainly breaking it into chunks is always recommended for lower level. Jeremy has a question about how English Unlocked is connected to this. So the way that we pulled out where you might build in specific Northstar standards into English Unlocked, and that is available in the routines teacher guide. It gives ideas on how you might incorporate digital skills into lessons in an English Unlocked at all levels. So I'd encourage you to check out that teacher guide. Yes, we would love to add more slides, Lynn. We're hoping to add more routines for using email for email topic. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth, for sharing the resources again, where people can download those. And yes, for English Unlocked is a for purchase resource. So if you're interested in that, you can look on our website, Literacy Minnesota English Unlocked. And there are free sample lessons of English Unlocked available on our website as well. We don't have anything developed for texting at this time. But I think Janet, can you remind me if the videos address texting at all?
I would say WhatsApp would be the closest thing in the video tutorials for texting, but we are also working on some mobile compatibility projects for our current Northstar curriculum. So we're adding more and more opportunities for folks to practice things both on keyboard and mobile device with those visuals.
Yes.
Coming down the pipeline.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks.